car. He'd spent most of the 20-minute journey with earphones in, talking loudly over the radio in a language Stacey didn't understand. Occasionally he'd bark out a laugh and she'd jump, her nerves on high alert. She stepped out of the taxi in relief, inhaled deeply, and tugged at the crotch of her tights where they were pinching. The irony that she had lived only 20 minutes away from Valentina without knowing it was not lost on Stacey. 3 of their group had grown up in and around the village of Shellbottle, known locally as Shit Bottle, after someone graffitied the town sign years ago when she, Bev and Paula were kids. The graffitied sign was still there today, standing proud and still making people snigger. Every time it was replaced by the council, the graffiti came back. Valentina had been the odd one out, the stranger who had burst into their lives in their last year at university. All bright colours and wild Italian hair. Stacey had spent the years after graduation trying to get as far away from Valentina as possible. And yet here she was, 20 minutes down the road after all that. It was a postcard Northumbrian church with a beautifully maintained rose garden in front and the graveyard tucked neatly behind, a respectable distance away. Birds chirped, bumblebees buzzed, and the air was fragrant with summer. It was twee and English, and everything Valentina was not. Stacey noticed Bev standing to the right of the church entrance, shuffling from foot to foot, wearing a dress that the Women's Institute would have approved of wholeheartedly. Bev had not noticed her yet, so Stacey had a moment to take in the sensible, flat, slip-on black shoes and neatly blow-dried helmet of hair. She looked like a Lego figurine with her handbag clutched in front of her. Hay fever tickled at Stacey's eyes, making them twitch and water. She reached into her small black handbag to find a tissue. Everyone was going to think she was crying because of Valentina rather than the high pollen count. Stacey's bag was a pewter colour with a bright pink leopard print strap. Not really funeral friendly, but it hadn't crossed her mind to change it for something more subtle. She found a packet of tissues and pulled it out, snagging her little finger on her house keys at the same time. The keys pinged free and clattered to the tarmac. Bev looked over sharply, then waved. Stacey flushed and scooped up the keys, feeling her freshly painted and yet already smudged nails scrape the tarmac as Bev walked over. "Did you pick that one specially?" Bev said, pointing at her bag with its jaunty strap. Yes, I did," Stacey lied. "She'd have liked that." Bev looked like she may have been crying already. "Sorry, haven't even said hello to you yet. How long's it been?" "Too long. How've you been?" "Oh, you know." "You?" "Yeah, all good. You look good." She was lying. Stacey knew she looked swollen. They loitered outside the church, making small talk about the warm sun. Then another taxi pulled up, and Paula Dunn climbed out. As Bev and Stacey watched, she adjusted the jacket of her black trouser suit, then crouched down to tie the laces on a pair of white trainers. Her hair was still very short and no nonsense, tucked behind her ears. It was now jet black rather than the white blonde she had dyed it at university. Stacey remembered how she would leave peroxide stains on the towels, which would drive Bev mad. Stacey's own hair hadn't changed that much in the 30 years since university, other than the invading army of grey that was marching across her scalp. It was still long, but only because she had never had the will or budget to get to a hairdresser. Today she had pulled it into a low ponytail at the nape of her neck. Paula came over to join them and they stood awkwardly, the silence between them weighed down by all the years that had passed in between conversations, before Paula pulled each of them into a brief, pat-on-the-back type hug. "Here we are, the 3 of us back together again. How long's it